So Jam said like he knew something crazy was going on, but he didn't actually know what the details were. He ends up getting flown out to LA, and this absolutely blew my mind. He ends up getting flown out to San Diego, driven to LA. They're in this like Sprinter bus, okay? They stop off at a Hooters in San Diego, and they basically get told on a FaceTime by Doodie Lo they got Quando Rondo's location, and the whole reason they've been flown out there is to kill him. They're going to trick him and say that somebody's going to come and deliver him some weed at his hotel.
Doodie, which is Doodie, as you guys know, Doodie, he took the gun, the Beretta, pointed it at the window, and said, I can get them right now. They lacking for real. Once he pointed at the window and said they lacking for real, Jam then said the only reason why they didn't get him right then and there was because cops kept flying up and down the street.
Now, the last video we did based on trial day 5, we was basically trying to cover all grounds of what went down, so sometimes it's a little hard to focus on one thing when you're trying to bring awareness to a whole bunch of things. Therefore, I think we had to double down on what we learned, as we heard from government witness OTF Jam that OTF's own Doodie Lo is more involved in the situation than we all thought. And I find that ironic because if you watch the previous videos we did based on this trial, when we seen Doodie Lo up there, I specifically said Doodie Lo need to be more careful at that courthouse because he's also been around these guys and you never know what may come up, especially with it being witnesses in this case who was around, such as OTF Jam and Varney. And lo and behold, we will find out that Doodie Lo isn't just involved in this case, he played a major part in it, where he was almost the reason that Quando Rondo would no longer be here to this day if the plan before the initial unaliving a little Pab was actually carried out. So while Doodie Lo was acting like he don't have a care in this world, up there outside the federal courtroom shaking hands and kissing babies, oh, and trying to get hugs from India, whole time this man may potentially be a suspect and he don't even know it. And see, this is why you never supposed to go to no damn courtrooms if you know you're somehow intertwined with the streets. How many guys y'all heard of go to court to support their friend and come to find out they get arrested from the courtroom because they showed up and lo and behold, the police was looking for them? I've personally seen that for myself. So this is why I stated yesterday on our Instagram, the next person that asks me why I'm not at no damn Little Dirk trial, I'm blocking them. I spent a large part of my life ducking the feds in their courtrooms. Imagine me willingly taking myself into one for some damn OTF trial. Just not happening. But anyway, we're going to get into what OTF Jam had to say as he exposed Doodie Lo for being co-conspirator for and also playing a role in orchestrating a plot to have Quando Rondo unalived. Now, why he isn't locked up yet, who knows? That don't mean they ain't coming, so if he knew any better, he would stay away from that damn courthouse. Shout out to Trap LaRose for the videos and unbiased news as well. Despite how much backlash she's facing for it, it just is what it is. We're going to get into it, y'all, but before we do, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, hype the video so we can get into the algorithm, and if you not subscribed to the platform already, make sure you do so now. Let's get into it. Hold up, y'all. There's no way you're watching this video for free right now, where you could be getting paid literally just for playing games while this video play in the background at the same time. Only difference is the increase in your bank account. Now, I'm not saying you'll get rich, but I am saying that you could easily make something while doing nothing except for sitting on the couch playing games if you download the app Free Cash. Tap or click the link I pinned in the comment section or scan the QR code that I put right here on the screen. Also, if you use my link right now, they give you a little sum to start off with just for signing up. So if you want a little Uber Eats or something to snack on and don't feel like dipping into your own wallet, play a few games so you don't have to spend your own ends. Now let's get back to the video. Now before we get into anything, here's Trap LaRose outside of the courthouse being harassed by Dirk supporters due to his reporting on the trial so far. Y'all check this out.
All right, so I'm outside the court. We got the Free Dirk Brigade right here. All right, they doing their thing. You see what they got going on, man. They see what they got going on. Okay. So you know what's funny? It wasn't just Dirk that got snitched on today. They were snitching on me too. A bunch of people lied and said that I was wearing Meta glasses in the courtroom when I wasn't. They tried to remove me. They questioned me, but they saw that I was not wearing Meta glasses. So it seems like Dirk supporters might be bigger snitches than they're letting on. So I don't know if any of these folks here are snitches, but I just saw Jam's testimony, people talking about I'm the police, but I just saw the biggest cooperator in this case reporting and giving his opinion on a whole bunch of crazy things. So they got all this energy from me. I ain't heard nobody mention Jam once yet. I ain't heard nobody mention nothing about Jam. I don't know what Jam got going on. So I've got all of the info about everything that Jam had to say. We got a lot of emotional people out here talking a whole load of nonsense, okay? So it is an absolute mess at the courthouse. They're snitching on me. They're snitching on Dirk. It is an absolute disaster out here. I can't believe the state of things out here outside the courthouse. So look, I'm going to give you guys a whole bunch of updates. I'm going to update you on absolutely everything that happened. I've got everything. They trying to hide the truth. They trying to hide the truth, man. They don't want me to speak the truth. They're going to be pissed when you hear what Jam had to say in the courtroom. It was insane. Jam had a whole lot to say, and these guys are going to be very, very mad and upset when they hear what Jam had to say. Because Jam absolutely cooked Lil Dirk in that courtroom. They went crazy. They tried to get me out of the courtroom. Brian Steele had a meltdown. He was trying to call a mistrial, and they was not having it. There was absolute chaos going on out there, and everybody is mad. Everybody is pissed. Everybody is upset. So we're going to get into all of it. I'm going to give you guys a whole bunch of updates. I'm going to let you guys know everything that was going on. And none of these folks out here, none of these phonems are going to be able to stop me, man, because it's freedom of speech, freedom of the press. I got a press pass. They can't keep me outside the courtroom. And it's a whole load of nonsense going out here. Dirk's team can't stop this. They ain't going to stop the justice. They ain't going to stop the situation. They definitely ain't going to stop me reporting. So I will be back with a full-blown update for you guys very soon. But for now, I'm going to wrap this one up here and let you know what's going on. They was trying to say I was emotional today, but look at the state of it. Look at the state of it, man. The clout chasing is out of control, but who's got all the motion over here? I don't know, but I'll see you guys in the next video. It's crazy. Peace.
This snitching on me and Dirk is crazy. Now, everything was fine with Traveler Ross until that one tweet he put out there about Dirk putting everything on OTF Vonnie. Before, everyone was cool with him being up there at the courthouse and doing his reporting. But as soon as he made that tweet, it's been a sudden switch. And honestly, he wasn't wrong for saying that, because if you paid attention to the defense in regards to Vonnie, especially Marissa Goldberg's opening statements, they basically did dump everything on OTF Vonnie. And Traveler Ross wasn't the only one saying it. So where was the lie? But this is the problem. Everyone's okay with him until he goes against their favorite rapper, but where's the fairness in that? And you have a few other reporters who actually report in biased ways due to either their ties to Dirk or the possibility of having one with him in the future. So they sugarcoat certain things and fail to report what's really going on. But it is what it is, and the truth is the truth. I must say that so far, Trap haven't been biased in his reporting, and it's ironic because if y'all do remember a little time back, actually Traveler Ross was pro Dirk. He was saying that he's going to beat this case, he isn't cooked, and he's going to be good. And everyone loved him then. But now he's reporting and it's not in the favor of Dirk, so everyone hates him now. It is what it is. But let's get into the real meat and potatoes when it comes to this trial. Instead of being mad at Trap, they need to be addressing OTF Jam, who had a huge day in court yesterday. He's not only speaking on the current situation with Lil Pat, but he's dropping bombs about himself and others, and even mentioning other people who we had no idea was involved. One of those people were Doodie Lo. Now, according to Jam, he will reveal that initially they got the drop on Quando Rondo solely because of Doodie Lo a day before the actual shooting of Lil Pat. They knew where his hotel was because of Doodie Lo, and he would have been dead a night before at his hotel if police would have never rolled by. Talk about being saved by the bell? Nah, he was saved by LAPD and didn't even know it. Now we're going to get into the first video where Traveler Ross speaks on Doodie Lo being co-conspirator for and explains why. Y'all check this out.
So it looks like it's official. Doodie Lo has been confirmed as co-conspirator number 4, and the person who confirmed it was OTF Jam himself. Now, we've been wondering who was it that gave the location of Quando Rondo in LA to the alleged hitmen, to Dirk, to the team, and all of that kind of stuff. Well, what is crazy is that we found out that there was apparently like a crazy conversation after basically like all the hitmen arrived in San Diego. Apparently none of them knew what was going on, but they had an inkling something crazy was going on. And I'm not gonna lie, Dirk really put himself in it with some of this stuff. So apparently, okay, all of the hitmen were kind of rounded up for some kind of secret mission. They didn't know what was going on. They all quickly got booked to these flights to San Diego. And apparently when Jam and another one of the hitters basically arrived, they went to a Hooters in San Diego. They got on a FaceTime with Doodie Lo, who told them that they got the location for Quando Rondo. They got the low from basically like a weed dealer that was going to go and take them some weed, and that they were basically going to trick him into coming outside to pick up weed, and they were going to kill him outside of his hotel. Well, it's confirmed that that was Doodie Lo. Now, not only did we were hearing about Doodie Lo being in group chats, and I thought, oh, maybe they're going to show some series of messages with Doodie Lo and other stuff that he had said, but it was Jam that took the stand and said that it was Doodie Lo that basically told them after they'd arrived in California that they were there on a mission to kill Quando Rondo. And Jam said something really interesting. He said, look, he felt like it was too hot to kill somebody in Los Angeles. He was thinking, there's too many police. I don't know the city. I don't know how to get away if I get in a high-speed chase, if I get hurt. I don't know where I'm going. This is a bad idea. But he said it was too late. I was already there, and I just went with it. So OTF Jam told the courtroom, he basically said, look, where I'm from, you don't stop nobody killing somebody. That's what gets you killed. They said that they'll think you're police. They'll think they'll get mad at you if you say that you want to stop a killing happening. But he wasn't really happy about it because he said he couldn't consider himself in the Quando beef. He said he wasn't that close with King Von. They spoke a couple of times. And what was crazy is Jam said that way back in the day before he knew Von, he was trying to rizz up King Von's sister. But he said he didn't feel like he should have had to be one of those people that slid for Von because that wasn't his homie. He said, look, he wasn't my man's. We didn't kick it. I didn't love him. I didn't feel like that was my mission. And he's saying they were in Hooters on FaceTime with Doodie Lo, and basically Jam and Boogie looked at each other after they were told to go and kill Quando, and they basically just looked at each other and said, yeah, But what was even more crazy is obviously now we know Doodie Lo was co-conspirator number 4 that was given the drop. They were apparently waiting outside Quando Rondo's hotel, and Doodie Lo told them that basically the guy that they thought they were getting weed from was telling Quando Rondo that he was just a few minutes away from the hotel. This is gonna, I might have to say this in a different video because we're running out of time. But basically, they had eyes on Quando Rondo outside the hotel. They were about to kill him, but the police rode by. Apparently, Didi upped his gun, pointed it at Quando, and said, I could kill him right now. It'd be so easy. But they said, nah, the block's too hot. There's too many cops out here downtown LA. I'm not going to go through with it. And then they went back to the crib. Insane.
Now, I don't know what kind of guardian angel that Quando Rondo have on his side, but either he's a praying man or someone or something is protecting him. Can you imagine being seconds away from death without even knowing, and the only reason you're still here is because the police rode by at the right time? Keep in mind, Quando is one of them rappers that say F the police, but it looks like he needs to be thanking them at this point. Aside from all that, Jam basically just admitted that Doodie Lo conspired to unalive Quando Rondo by dropping his location. And if you know anything about the law, conspiracy is one of the worst cases to catch, and honestly, if they really wanted to, they could probably go arrest Doodie Lo right now or for what OTF Jam is saying alone. He have a government witness admitting that he was the one that dropped the location to get someone unalive, and he is the one that was supplying the address. Now, before we harbor on that, according to Trap, Jam said they all arrived in San Diego that same day, and the plan was to unalive Quando Rondo and then also get out of there, I'm assuming in the same fashion as they did with Little Pab after he was unalive, which coincidentally they did in the same manner. Now what this does is it shows the jury that this is their method and way of moving. This is what they do. And if they were able to unalive Quando Rondo that same night, more than likely they would have left that same night as well. But I don't know why they don't understand how getting on a flight out of nowhere spontaneously, spending hours or a day in a certain location and leaving in such short notice, coincidentally after a homicide, isn't obvious. And whether you could prove they did anything or not, it looks suspect to say the least, right? Now, Jam testified that OTF Doodie was on FaceTime with Doodie Lo and Hooters, who was the middleman for Little Dirk basically allegedly, as he was given instructions, and Doodie Lo was the one that revealed to them that they were in fact there to unalive Quando Rondo. He's also been involved in group chats, as he was already mentioned in one of the text messages where it describes him basically obtaining Quando Rondo's address. In the text, it'll state, quote, Slime Life Shorty told Doodie Lo, keep your head up, Slime, I know the pain. Then, I love you, Slime. Doodie Lo responded, I love you back, Slat. The conversation continued with Slime Life asking, where you at, Slime? Doodie Lo, the crib. Slime Life, call me. Then Slime Life said, I know a dude from Savannah who got drops. And for y'all that don't know, drops is basically locations, and Savannah is Savannah, Georgia, exactly where Quando Rondo is from. Then on the motive side of things, they have him allegedly texting Dirk as a text message between them was released. The tweet in regards to it was state quote, prosecutors and the FBI agent read text this morning from David Salisbury, aka Doodie Lo, and Little Dirk from 2020 after the shooting death of King Von. Salisbury, keep your head up. I know your pain. I'm with you, drilling about this ish. Banks, I love you back, Slap. So he says drilling about this ish, as we know what drilling already means, and then we have him getting Quando Rondo's location as well according to OTF Jam. So they have motive and involvement, and if he's not careful, he could potentially be involved. One thing we could say is his name was brought up a lot, but my only question is, if they already had all this knowledge about Doodie Lo and his alleged involvement, why didn't they act on it? Why isn't he involved in the trial too? I don't know. Now on another note, it seemed OTF Jam was smart because you see how they used King Von's affiliation with Vonnie against him, further trying to paint the picture that he would have motive to slide for Von. Well, Jam distanced himself, admitting that he didn't know King Von like that enough to slide for him, and he even tried to talk to his sister back in the day. So this creates the canvas that no, he doesn't know Von like that, at least not enough to slide for him, so you can't put the slide for Von motive on him like they tried to do with OTF Vonnie. And with Doodie Lo now being introduced into this as the person who dropped Quando's low, it just goes to show once again, Dirk not getting his hands dirty, and if I could assume something, it seems like so far in this trial, everyone else have damaging evidence against him and got their hands dirty except for Little Dirk. Some of the most damaging evidence points at the guys around him, not him. But here's the other video from Trap speaking on Dirk FaceTiming the OTF Doodie right before the initial hit, allegedly. Check this out.
I might have heard one of the damnest things in this whole trial today when OTF Jam was actually on the stand. He said that there was basically all these frantic phone calls made when they got Quando Rondo's location to a bunch of hitters in Chicago trying to get them on a job. It was Doodie and Booney Mo. Apparently Booney Mo was specifically the person that called him and basically asked him about being involved, but he had Lil Durk on a FaceTime call on another phone on speaker. So Jam knew that Durk was there and that he was privy to this call. He overheard Booney Mo saying, "Blood, you there?" on the other line. And then basically, apparently, all right, he didn't have any info about what the hit was going to be. So Jam tried to call Lil Durk directly 2 times. Durk didn't answer. And then Booney called him back and said, "Hey, Durk doesn't want no one calling his phone that's coming out to LA. He didn't want no contact with anyone that's flying out to LA. So Jam said like he knew something crazy was going on, but he didn't actually know what the details were. He ends up getting flown out to LA, and this absolutely blew my mind. He ends up getting flown out to San Diego, driven to LA. They're in this like Sprinter bus, okay? They stop off at a Hooters in San Diego, and they basically get told on a FaceTime by Doodie Lo they got Quando Rondo's location, and the whole reason they've been flown out there is to kill him. They're going to trick him and say that somebody's going to come and deliver him some weed at his hotel, and they're going to kill him outside his hotel. But what was crazy is after that, okay, Doodie got on FaceTime apparently with Lil Durk in the Sprinter bus, and apparently showed Lil Durk the hitters on FaceTime. Apparently, Doodie turned his phone to show Durk all of the hitters and said, "Yeah, you see the Navy SEALs, all right?" And then Jam basically gave testimony. They said, like, what was your understanding of what he meant? He was saying Navy SEALs, they're guys that go on missions. They're guys that go and kill people. He said that he turned the phone so that Lil Durk could see OTF Jam, and Durk basically told Jam, "Yeah, go crazy." And Jam slammed the rakes. He threw GDK, and then basically, like, you know, threw up the GD sign. He let the court know what that was, and then basically they kept on going to LA. What's even more crazy is they apparently stopped off on the way, and everybody tried to take a picture of the LA skyline, but it was too dark. But the hitmen were really pulling up to the side of the road in the Sprinter after having FaceTimes with Dirk, taking pictures of where they were at. They were loving the view. And then they also stopped off at, they said they stopped off at a store. He said, I wasn't sure if it was Target or Walmart, but they basically went there to buy hoodies and gloves, you know, to disguise themselves. They said nobody brought hoodies and gloves with them, so they needed to get them there. After that, apparently once they got to LA, they met with OTF Vonnie, and OTF Vonnie pulled up. You know what Vonnie said to them? One of the first things Vonnie said to them, he said, "Hey guys, I got bad news." They said, "What's the bad news?" He said, "I only got 3 guns." Absolutely crazy. Then started putting guns in people's hands. He said that he had 2 Glocks with extendos. One of them had a switch on it, and the other one was a Beretta, kind of more of an old school gun. And he's saying that Doodie apparently, he alleged that, I think it was Doodie, he alleged that he put the Beretta in Jam's hand and said, "I'm rusty." and basically it's like, yeah, you got this. Doodie wasn't gonna shoot. It's crazy.
Now, as of yesterday, when OTF Jam was testifying, they asked him what happened when they were waiting for Quando Rondo outside of his residential. It went like, quote, OTF Jam, Quando Rondo then proceeds to come outside. Prosecution. So you didn't have the gun? Jam, no. Doodie takes the gun away from him. Prosecutor, what does Doodie do with the gun? Jam, he aims it at the window and says, quote, they out here lacking, look, we can get they buzz. Then they were asking him why didn't they follow through with everything, and he stated, quote, we seen one police unit fly up the street and another follow right after it. Prosecutors, then what happened? Jam, one car went one way and another went the other. A photo was shown of the white Infiniti and white BMW leaving different directions. Now again, when asked about how he got the location for Quando Rondo, OTF Jam said, quote, Doodie Lo and Doodie hopped on a FaceTime. He gave Doodie the location. He tells Doodie the weed man says he's going to tell him he's outside, but he's really not going to be outside. Now, speaking of the weed man, it's being alleged that he might come and testify as well, and that's not a good look. And it's almost likely that he will testify, because if Jam snitched and told them who was involved, then the feds probably went and told them, look, we know you dropped Quando Rondo's location and we know that you are involved. And if you don't speak, you could possibly face jail time. And whether he really can or not, you know that's their little tactics to get you to talk. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened, but it's going to be interesting to see. Shout out to Cousin Tino on Twitter, because he would interview a guy who took notes about what happened when Overflow was forced to get out the courtroom due to a picture being taken of OTF Jam on the stand. And speaking of that, we're hearing that allegedly Seti Nash was the one that took it, and he's since been barred from the courtroom. Not sure how true that is yet, but we're going to update y'all on it in another video. As for now, y'all check this guy speaking on the dispensary guy who conspired to drop Quando Rondo's location.
They went to Hooters. Once they went to Hooters, they basically all linked up, and then later on that night, that's when they went to go stalk Quando Rondo, because the weed man gave him basically the drops, and the weed man was telling him like, yo, I'm outside. And Quando Rondo popped outside expecting like him to be outside. Jam even said Quando Rondo even then they got on a scooter and started riding it. Kid you not, that's what Jam said. He said he literally got on a scooter and was about to, you know the little public scooter that you can pay for? He was about to ride it. He said, Doodie, which is D-Ski, as you guys know, Doodie, he took the gun, the Beretta, pointed it at the window and said, I can get them right now. They lacking for real. Once he pointed at the window and said they lacking for real, Jam then said the only reason why they didn't get him right then and there was because cops kept flying up and down the street. He said one came. No. It was outside of a residential that they were staying at. Quando Rondo came down from the residential. The weed man that they were buying off of, he owns a dispensary. So he was getting plugged in. When he was getting plugged in, the weed dispensary man basically came downstairs, or told him he was downstairs, and Quando came out. That's how they got the location. That's how they've been following him, basically. They knew the drop from there. But like I said, back to what I was saying, Jam said that Quando came out. Doodie said what he said, like, oh, we can get him right now. They lacking for real. Then he seen police coming down. Yes. And then that's when Jam had hopped in another car, he said, and they both went opposite ways, which was the Q50 and the BMW. Mm-hmm. And that's how they got up out of there. But basically they knew what the residential they were staying at. Because
the perpetrator number 4, prosecutor witness number 4 is going to be...
He's still concealed. Yeah, he's still concealed, but he's for surely, without no doubt, the weed dispensary owner of wherever he owns, because he owns a weed dispensary, they said.
Okay, and then allegedly Doodie Lo was the person that he contacted?
Yes, he gave Doodie Lo, he basically called Doodie Lo through FaceTime, because I guess they said FaceTime doesn't audio record, or it doesn't record or something like that. He called Doodie Lo through FaceTime saying, yo, Quando just hit me saying he was going to buy some weed, he's going to be here anytime. That's when Doodie Lo contacts the manager for Dirks, who books his flights, and tells him, like, yo, he calls Jam, like, yo, you gotta hop on a flight right now.
Now, if this guy testifies, who knows what that could mean? It should be interesting to see, because if he involves Doodie Lo, then what does that say for him within this case? I don't know, but let me say this. This also shows that you can't trust nobody, not even your weed dealer. And if you ask me, he should be arrested too, because he was a part of a plot to unalive someone. And this is why I always say, when someone passes away, we need to start checking their phones and see who they were last in communication with. Because let's say the police never rolled past, Quando Rondo would have been gone. and no one would have known how it happened. The TMZ article just would have said Quando Rondo was unalived outside his Los Angeles hotel, not knowing why he was going outside in the first place, and we'd just be thinking that, well, he was lacking. But whole time, it's because he was instructed by someone he trusted, least expected to set him up, and would have been backdoored and never even saw it coming. I'm pretty sure now, Quando Rondo was probably surprised himself hearing about what just came up in trial, but I hope he stayed far away from that damn dealer. Now sidebar, right? I see people in the comments say things like, Hookah, I thought you said King Von was set up. I thought you said this was an inside job. So how are these guys being held responsible in court if it was all a setup? I'm not going to go too far, but let me say this. Little Pad wasn't the target of the shooting. Quando was. Quando was to be silenced because, like Gala Hagen said before, Quando was beginning to be the weakest link, and then people needed to tie up loose ends, or else they would have risked Quando Rondo saying everything he knows. Sounds crazy, but let's just say Quando needed to be dealt with, but he ended up surviving the attack, and here we are. If you know, you know. And it's crazy because when you pay attention, this is the second time throughout this whole ordeal where Quando was targeted, but somehow it didn't go in their favor. The night before, the police rode past, and then the next day, they actually shot at him, but he was the one that survived. Crazy. He definitely got somebody protecting him. Y'all jump in the comments and let me know what y'all think about this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'ma keep on dropping. I'm out.